Welcome back to the Pinkbike 2026 Trailbike Field Test. In episode 1, we met this year's crop of bikes and took them for first impression laps here in Arkansas. Today, we're turning things up. We're pitting the bikes against each other in a series of challenges to see what actually matters out on the trail. Climbing, descending, pumping, we'll be testing it all. Every bike is rolling on Maxxis control tires, and all of our gear comes courtesy of Met and Endura. Now let's get started. Welcome to day 2 of the Trailbike Field Test. Today is challenge day, so we've got all the bikes and we're going to put them through a series of different challenges.
You like my outfit? You had a tight spread.
He's just hanging out now. First up is the climbing challenge. We're here on a trail called Zone 4 in the hand-cut hollow section of the trail network. And we found a good section that's really technical. It's a little bit slippery. It rained last night and there was a bit of fog, so some of this limestone can get kind of slimy. It's going to add to the challenge. We're going to take all the bikes. I'm going to try to get them up to the top of the trail. It's going to do some timing as well as some subjective and objective, just kind of how the bikes feel as I'm getting up this little tricky section of trail. Let's get climbing. Okay, here we go. Salsa. Oh, dab. Oh, dabbing. I didn't make the corner. There we go. Ah, had a dab.
Uh-oh.
I dabbed in the corner. On this bike, there's not a ton of traction, it doesn't feel like.
Does the rather short wheelbase feel like you can get it into some of the pockets?
It doesn't feel, I don't think it's super short.
Are you running the climb switch closed?
No, open, everything's gonna be open.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty rocky track.
It is.
And and this is, the pedals
traction.
efficiently enough, but definitely handling was a little tricky, like where your weight is on that bike. Right away, it feels a little comfier than the Salsa. A little better position up front. Oh, one dab again. The corner is hard.
All right. Dab, no dab.
One dab.
One dab.
Way easier to climb with than the Salsa though. Front end's a little higher.
Yep.
Back end's a little longer.
Uh-huh.
Feels like you're in the right position. Those tiny little techie bits just doesn't feel as skittery. Definitely doesn't feel like an XC bike. It feels like a trail bike in the way it climbs, but I do like that position. It's like super comfortable. Okay. That's how I feel. This bench feels pretty comfy. A little softer feel than the propane I was just on. Oh, yeah, just motored right up there. And get the steepy turn. There we go, no dabs. Colossusing.
That looks all right.
There you go. No dabs. No dabs. Yeah, I don't think the weight does much for this kind of thing where you're just going off for a little bit, but the extra travel definitely helped. I felt more stuck to the ground compared to those other two.
How about the seat angle and seated position?
That felt pretty good too. Like it's kind of similar feel to the propane, kind of more your trail enduro kind of bike. You're like, it's not like the XC position, just have that little longer stem, but the overall fit, like it's a pretty steep seat angle, so you're more upright. Felt nice. I was impressed with that, especially considering the price and all that too.
Where are you gonna put it?
I think it's the fastest because I didn't dab. Dabs cost you time. Oh yeah, this bike feels nice and light. A little mosquito bite. Oh, I hit the tree. Uphill hitting trees.
Staying up in the gravel.
Punched a tree though. Feels the best for sure. Just because it's kind of a mix of that, the polygon, like the traction, but then a little bit more efficiency.
Okay.
It feels lighter too. Most enjoyable so far.
Yeah.
But I did get a little zesty and then I shoulder checked the tree a little bit on the uphill.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's got carbon wheels, light frame.
Yeah.
Generally more the build package you'd expect to do well on this kind of stuff.
Geo feels good. It's like a 140 fork, 130, like a trail bike. For this kind of stuff, it's the kind of bike that I would want. And I would just try to not hit trees and I would go faster. It's probably second, but I want it to be first, so put it in first.
All right.
But I think it's actually second.
The subjective is part of this.
Yeah. Subjectively, is the way it feels to climb.
Cool.
It's first. Something else, quick handling. Got the efficiency going. A little slidey. Oh yeah. A little sporty machine.
Looks pretty cruisy.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. No dabs. Yeah, I mean, that feels the shortest travel bike. 130. Feels the sportiest, is the lightest. By sporty, I just mean it's like quick handling, especially even that corner where I keep dabbing. Like, just had a little bit more time to set up. It's not the longest bike either, I don't think, but just feels like nice and compact, but without being too sketchy. Definitely get a little more towards that XC side of things as far as overall feel, but in a good way for when you're tackling kind of tricky techie bits. Like this is a good, a climber's trail bike.
Yeah, you seemed happiest when you got up here.
Yeah,
so.
Maybe it's the grips. I really like these grips.
They are great grips.
I'll put it at the top. No dabs and it felt quick. A lot more upright than the Spire. More travel.
Fuel of excellence.
How was that?
Felt good. Definitely feels more towards that enduro bike side of things, like really tall front end, which I do like, but it's a different position than the Intense. Like the Intense, you're kind of like low and racy, and this one you're kind of like up and like
Chilling.
cruisy. Doesn't feel as fast, but you can definitely go as fast, I'd say, on this type of thing.
Where are you gonna put it?
Felt pretty clean. It's probably first, but I'm gonna go second.
Canyon Spectral, last year's choice bike. How did it do this year?
I'd still like this thing. I mean, it just has a nice balanced feel, easy to get along with, kind of higher front end, similar to that Trek, which I do like the taller front end, just kind of makes it easy to move around. But then it's also not quite as long feeling as the Trek, I don't think. So like that last corner there had a little bit more inside line that felt better. Yeah, really good support from the suspension. That's something we noticed last year when we tested in Whistler. It's supportive without being harsh. It could be my fastest, I think second fastest though, is what I'll guess. Yeah, so I grabbed the Salsa. Salsa was the one that I did first today. And I was getting warmed up and it was a little slipperier, so we'll give it a fair shake and see how it goes second time around. It feels a little firmer, lower front end, better line through there. Now that it's drying up.
I predict him being a little faster, but not a lot faster.
I bet that corner still gives him trouble.
It's lots easier when it's dry out here. Slicked my first lap.
How was it?
Better than the first because it's definitely drying up.
Yeah, okay.
Like the spots where I was spinning earlier, the grease has dissipated.
Got it.
You said this was maybe one of the stiffer bikes off the top in terms of the travel.
Yeah.
Still kind of feel like that.
There's not as much traction on the small bump stuff, so it does make it, you kind of have to rely on yourself and the geometry. You can't just like relax and let it plow through everything. Yeah, it feels fairly neutral. It just doesn't stand out as something that's not super exciting. I know some of the other bikes you really get on, you're like, oh, this feels fun to climb. I know people think it's never fun to climb, but it can be fun to climb.
Yeah, for sure it can, yeah.
This one just feels kind of regular.
Is it comfortable?
Not any more so than the other ones, and not in a, you're pretty low on the front, it feels like. I think you could just fix that with higher rise bars, but it's a funny blend where you kind of get the XC-ish kind of low in the front and then short in the back, but then a little bit longer here. So it feels a little bit disjointed.
This is how you racked the bikes, your ratings, in terms of perceived speed, comfort, all that.
Yeah.
Any edits you want to make?
If we just got the bikes that I like as far as climbing ability, if I had a fleet of bikes in front of me and I was gonna pick one for whatever, those are my favorites.
All right, you wanna close your eyes and I'll re-rack for time. You had two ties on the same second. Eugene was an early run when it was still a little slippery, so maybe an asterisk there, but yeah, two dabs. No, none.
The Spider was the exact same second as the Spectral?
Yep. Visibly, you carried speed differently in different parts of the course. The Spider, you're making speed up in the like smoother bits.
Yeah.
And then like getting through the tech, where the Canyon was more just like carrying speed through that.
Yeah, we should say for the camera and viewers that this doesn't mean that the propane is a bad climber or the Ravel, it's just for today's course and conditions and things, this is how it's sorted out. But it is really illuminating to hop on back to back to back to see how they feel, because the bike feels good. You're gonna wanna spend more time on it and grab it and keep riding it. So that's why that previous ranking that I had of how I felt it's worth paying attention to that too. But this is cool to see, and it does kind of fit with what I was feeling too, at least as far as that Intense in the Canyon.
I think the thing that stands out to me the most about these two being comparable is that your body's like low, your feet are low, but you don't hit pedals, like it has good support, and then they're pretty evenly balanced, like front to rear. So the bike just kind of stays low and neutral through that.
And then the sciencey part of this, if you hit trees, you go slower when you hit trees.
Yeah.
And if you dab, you also go slower. So that's science that we did, and that's important to remember.
It's not rocket surgery, we're doing soft science here.
We just wrapped up the climbing. We've got the natural descending portion on this traversing trail. There's lots of good little bench cut moves and exposed rocks to test the downhill prowess of these trail bikes.
There's gonna be a timed element of that. We're gonna time that on each of his laps. He's not gonna be trying to go 100% every time, but say in the 85% range. And then we're also gonna ask him how the bikes felt, because the times matter, but the amount of comfort and just confidence that you have on a bike also matters. We'll combine those and see it all stacks up at the end of the day.
By random draw from the stack, Matt is starting on the Trek. Similar to the climbing challenge, we'll have him run that again at the end. So don't complain.
Trek could be towards the top. I think it's a really good descender. Feels the most like a bigger trail bike. So
it's got longer travel too.
Yeah, a little more travel. Yeah, that and the Polygon are the longest travel options we have here. So yeah, I'd say it probably towards the top.
I think this is a pretty solid descending bike. Very smooth suspension. Feels light to maneuver too, like through those little chicanes and stuff. In the boat with the Canyon and the propane for sure.
He looks fast on this bike, I think because it's in such an aggressive little tucked position.
Yeah, the corners are quicker almost.
Definitely a more committing ride, but there's a lot of weight on the front end. And it's sort of hard to find that balance between the front and the rear grip. Like you kind of feel like you can really easily hinge off the rear end of the bike and it unweights the front. I would put it in second.
He's far away, but soon he will be close. How soon? Only time will tell.
This should be a good bike.
Yeah.
It's got good brakes, got your favorite Mavens.
Ooh, good sounds.
Water line, nice, yeah.
How was that?
Pretty comfortable. Your feet seem lower to the ground. Definitely not as sharp as the Salsa on the pedals, but I think a good blend of suspension feel and geometry where it doesn't like pigeonhole itself one way or the other towards uphill or downhill.
Where are you gonna put it?
I'm gonna put it at the top because it felt faster, but I also felt like I was on the edge a little bit more too.
I have high hopes for this one. I think it's like on the better side of neutral. Oh yeah, Matt.
Drifter.
Yeah, I got a little surprised coming off the propane, which had the Mavens, and then this had the Motives with organic pads. So the first turn came up a little quick. You can pump and you really feel like you're carrying momentum. So it gives it that fun, I'm doing stuff quickly element. I'm gonna put it below the Trek just because I had to brake a lot more and sooner coming into the corners. But who knows, maybe that'll stack up on the faster descent portion too where you carry speed. So.
Yeah, totally.
Not the easiest to ride when you're fatigued. More balanced than the Rascal, like front to rear. Feels fast, still reserved in some places. So actually gonna put it right in the middle.
Above the Revel, below the Trek?
Yeah. Whoa!
Oh. Getting loose.
Still a really good bike. There are elements very similar to the Spider where your feet feel close to the ground. So you have like a good center of gravity, you feel stable and still have that support in the suspension to push and generate speed, but a bit more travel. I'm gonna put it at the top.
You are an incredibly consistent rider, Matt Beer. How does this one shake out?
You know, this suspension feels really good through some of the rocks up there. A couple things that do hurt this bike on this track. Brakes could be a little bit sharper, easy change again, but also the front end height. Feels high, like 160 fork. And then pumping, yeah, again, more of a trade-off leaning towards the comfort over performance and speed generation, I think. I might put it right in the middle, below the Trek.
All right, go look at a bug and I'm gonna re-rack for time.
Okay. So this is ranked in terms of time.
Yep. Tie, single, triple tie, single.
Top two definitely makes sense. They really make up speed when you have to go from like a slow pumping without pedaling. They really drive forwards. Propane makes sense. Yeah, it's a little bit more muted in that way, but otherwise quite balanced, comfy, neutral.
Polygon and Trek seemed like you had pretty similar feedback between the two in terms of like feeling comfortable but not necessarily the most sporty in terms of generating speed. Revel, bit of an outlier, but I think maybe balances a bit for handling.
Yeah, I think they kind of make up in their own right and even out. And then yeah, the Salsa, yeah, it just makes sense. Really low front end, sharp back end.
Yeah, it's crazy how close this is to the climbing results. Like the top two are the same as we had for climbing.
True.
So
yeah.
It turns out they're good at climbing and descending. That's pretty good.
Well-rounded.
And it's and the Canyon is back on top again. So
you had a tight spread. They were like 4 seconds top to bottom. All right, that is enough Out here in the woods, we're gonna head to some more flow type trails and see how all these bikes stack up when it comes to generating speed through positive pumping terrain.
Without pedaling, no
pedals.
It'll be no pedal pumping challenge. We'll see if that makes any difference in how these bikes stack up.
That guy's loose.
It's time for our third challenge, the no pedal pumping challenge. And this is where Matt is gonna take these bikes on Thunderdome. It's a dual slalom track and he's not gonna pedal at all. We're gonna see which one goes fastest and which one feels fastest.
We've got all 7 bikes, including the Canyon Spectral, last year's winner. And yeah, we're gonna compare them. First, I'm gonna get my perceived results of which is the fastest, most efficient at pumping and jumping down this track. And then we're actually gonna compare the real times.
I think part of what makes a given trail bike fun is just how reactive it is, how much you can generate speed without having to pedal for stuff. And this is a good way of isolating that. We have a track with rollers, gap jumps, some doubles, and all sorts of good corners to just rip into, generate speed, and see how efficiently you can generate speed down a trail. So let's see. Get on up there, Matt. There he goes, and
the frame's light, it's well balanced. There's good support in the suspension, which I think is maybe the biggest differentiator. I can definitely see why it won Trail Bike of the Year last year. You know, not too bad. For the largest, heaviest bike on test, it does pretty well. The front end and the softer suspension feel do hinder that to a degree.
You just not get as much pump out of the corners, kind of?
Yeah, you kind of lose the leverage. So like your feet and hands are further apart. So that also kind of hurts it in the turns too. I couldn't really like lean over the front as hard and rail them and feel confident. I'll put this below the Canyon for now. We'll see how it does against the rest of the bikes, especially the bigger ones.
looking athletic, Matt Veer.
The speed tech.
This might have been the most lively, reactive, pumpy, jumpy bike there is. For the most part, I think it comes down to the size and it not being too stretched out. Also a little less suspension.
Your suspension's just in the same state that it was on the descending challenge.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so top of the stack?
Definitely.
I anticipate this one doing pretty well.
I'm placing it, I'd say number one. Doesn't mean I guess.
He's moving quick. I see his little head coming through the woods now. Ooh, it's close.
Oh, no style.
Actually.
I'd say most similar to the Canyon.
Okay.
It's a little bit longer maybe, like that.
Yeah, you're definitely locked into the turns a bit better than the Canyon.
More work in the suspension category, or?
Yeah, I think just to generate speed through the back end of the bike, it being a bit longer and lower.
So you're going Revel, Canyon, Propane, Polygon.
3, 2, 1, go. I like this racer tuck at the end.
Still unwieldy at times. The rear center is quite short, so at times you can feel like you're right on the rear axle and then the front gets a bit light. And then other times you compensate for that and move forward. And all the weight's on the front. It's kind of hard to judge where the perfect traction point is on this, and even generating speed, you really still feel like you're leveraging right over the front, like a lot of weight up front.
Where would you rank it?
It's better than the Polygon. Not as good as the Canyon. I put it above the Propane, so this is gonna land right in the middle for now because of that geometry. The rear end's quite short, so you can really drive the back end and get that power down without pedaling.
The position of this is really nice, but it doesn't feel maybe as much like a pump track bike. Like if you're gonna pick a slalom bike, Fuel AX wouldn't be as high as compared to that.
I don't know. I have good feelings about this one, but we'll see. How was it?
Surprisingly fast. Yeah, I thought that sort of the longer, taller stature of this bike with a bit more travel and it being so comfortable on the tech downhill stuff was maybe gonna hold it back a bit. Yeah, I was able to get like good drive through the suspension still. I think that's sort of what you're looking for with a longer travel bike.
Yeah, where would you rank it?
Just below the Rascal. above the canyon, second place.
Cool, that means final bike, the Intense Spider.
3, 2, 1, go. This could get up on the top again.
Aesthetically, looks real speedy. His spread is extremely tight so far though, so I don't know if there's gonna be like a huge set apart, but
yeah,
be cool if there were. Stay tuned.
Yeah, if you go a little faster or a little slower, we'll have actual results.
I think this bike was built for that track. This feels like the fastest by far. It just stays low and you feel very secure, close to the ground in a good way. And it's light. It's like a 29er slalom bike.
Didn't have the like front rear balance issues that you'd run into with some of the other smaller bikes?
No, yeah, it's similar in most ways to the Revel Rascal, except the sort of body position, you're just a little closer, so it doesn't make the rear end feel as short.
Okay.
All right, cool. So top of the leaderboard, you think, for this one?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, now it's time to put it in and check the actual results.
Number 1, Intense Spider. Less than a second behind that, Trek Fuel EX. Shortly behind that, Salsa Blackthorn. Then a tie between the Propane and the Revel, followed finally by the Canyon and the Polygon. About a 3-second spread.
Okay.
Which is the same for the downhill part too.
This does make sense to me. The Intense being light, low, short travel, balanced, definitely generates the most speed and carries speed well. The Trek, I think the wheelbase helped here a lot, and the active suspension surprisingly carried more speed through those sort of bumpy turns. And then the Salsa, yeah, short back end, you can really generate speed quickly, get that leverage over the bike. Propane and the Rascal, they feel well balanced and sort of just a moderate temperature to them. The Canyon does surprise me to be down at the bottom. Unlike the Tech Descending, I think we've been running it in the low position. So I think for this terrain, it does kind of feel like it gets a bit too slack at times. So I'd almost run it in the high.
Same goes for the Polygon too. We have it in low position.
Interesting to see Spider's been on the top for all 3 challenges today.
Oh no.
Yeah, right? Climbing, descending, and pumping. So that's looking pretty good for the Intense Spider so far for this terrain in this zone. And pretty soon we're gonna use this information and you and I are gonna have to battle it out and see which bike we choose for our big dumb ride that we've got coming up. So some things to think about. And next time you see us, we'll be heading out for a big ride.
Dario, what are you gonna do?
I don't know, kick rocks, I guess.
Well, that's it. End of that episode. Next time, time for the big ride.